Hi everybody, welcome back to another Steam Deck video, and in this one we're going to be looking at Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8. And I'm really aware that my versions of these kind of game testing, gameplay example videos, they're quite basic things, because all I'm really trying to get across in these videos is the particular game we're looking at worth playing to start off with. And this, I guess, could apply to the Steam Deck, or it could be applied to in general. And then, does it run okay on the device we've chosen? So in this case, it's the Steam Deck. That way, if you're like a Resident Evil fan, maybe you're a Resident Evil 8 fan or Resident Evil Village fan, you're thinking, well, if I get a Steam Deck, can I play one of my favourite games on it? Or if you've already got a Steam Deck, for example, and you're thinking, should I think about buying Resident Evil Village? I can answer that question as well. The kind of giveaway with these videos is that I don't really do these videos about any games that I don't really like. So if I've done a video on the game, then chances are, I like it. And this is definitely the case with Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8. I absolutely love this game. And in fact, maybe quite controversially, if you're a Resident Evil fan, I think Resident Evil Village is one of the greatest Resident Evil games. It really is absolutely fantastic. Sometimes it might be a little bit difficult to pick out particular aspects of it that make it so good, but it definitely has these unbelievably great set pieces that I'm not going to talk about in this video because they're spoilers, but kind of things that happen when you're playing the game. So is Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, a game worth buying? Absolutely. It's a game worth buying, whether you're a Resident Evil fan or not. If you're into single player adventure games, let's say, now obviously this is survival horror, but it's a little bit more on the action side of things, then this is an absolutely fantastic game to play. I love it. It has some of the scariest moments in any video game that I've ever played, especially if you get the Game of the Year edition. I guess there is, the special edition, or you buy the Rose DLC, because that has some bits in it that are absolutely amazing. So that's that out of the way. And the next thing is, does it run, does it play, and does it look good on the Steam Deck? And it's difficult to show this on a video that's recorded on a mobile phone, and then you're maybe even watching this video on a mobile phone, YouTube or something like that. But it looks amazing. And when you think this game isn't that old, it's about 3 years old, isn't it, Resident Evil Village, at the time of recording the video? And there's no doubt that Capcom make AAA video games. The production values of their games are, nobody does games better in terms of the way they look. And this looks amazing on the Steam Deck OLED 512 gigabyte version I've got here. But not only that, it doesn't only look amazing, but it runs incredibly well as well. So if you look in the top left-hand corner, you can see we're getting 60 frames a second. Now, what I do is, in my settings, I tend to limit games to 60 frames a second, basically because I think that's a real sweet spot. If a game can achieve constant 60 frames a second, that's good enough for me. And also, and then I limit games to that, really because of recording features, when I'm recording for video for YouTube, but also in terms of battery life as well. Now, what I've done for the purpose of this video as well is I've turned HDR mode on, and I've turned the brightness up a long way as well. And again, this is something that probably, it's very difficult to appreciate on a video recorded on a mobile phone. But I wanted to get across, how beautiful this games looked, and the fact that we are getting such high frames. Now, I know I'm in an empty area at the moment. I'm just wandering around the village. And when we get enemies coming in, things are going to, we're going to get some frame drops. It's going to slow down, and you're going to get kind of, is it stuttering? But you get it when it drops from like 60 frames a second, down to 40 and 30, then back up again, as it changes. But a lot of Resident Evil Village is inside as well, and the game runs even better in there because of the view distances are so short. So it runs very, very well indeed. Which button is options? Here we go. Let's have a look at the options so you can just see what I've got running on. There's the specs for the Steam Deck OLED. We've got HDR mode on, full screen, 1280 by 800 being the size. Now the refresh rate is 90 Hz. That's because the screen on the Steam Deck is an OLED 90 Hz screen, but we set the frame rate at 60. VSync is on. I can't stand tearing. FSR is off. Obviously you could turn that on if you wanted to. Normal rendering mode, image quality 1. If we go down, we can see texture quality high, mesh quality mid, ray tracing off, volumetric lighting low, shadow quality mid, contact shadows on, film noise off, depth of field on, lens distortion on. There we go. So we've got some nice settings. Yeah, it runs and looks absolutely great. So I know lots of people out there, the impression you get when you watch media about the Steam Deck is often lots of people, lots of games they talk about often tend to be indie darling games, and maybe that, and then sometimes the idea of that the Steam Deck might well struggle with, AAA, the latest games. But, if the game is optimized properly, it can run absolutely beautifully as this does here. So Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village runs nicely runs very, very well on the Steam Deck OLED 512GB. It looks absolutely amazing in HDR, and highly recommended from me as well. So there we go. So if you're a massive Resident Evil fan and you're thinking about getting a Steam Deck, don't worry, Resident Evil 8 is going to run very, very nicely. If you've got a Steam Deck and you're thinking, should you buy Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village as a game to play, 100%, it's absolutely amazing game. Capcom, they really know their business, and they haven't released a duffer in many, many years. So I would highly recommend pick it up in the Steam sale or on the CD Key site, and you will have an awful lot of fun and be very, very scared in lots of places. Anyway, that's enough for me. What do you think? Put your questions and comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.